Hey guys, here I is. I know it's been a little bit, but here I be. We're at the What Would You Make collaboration. Yeah, we are. I only have 2 projects, but somehow this ended up almost 30 minutes. But here we go, DIY number 1. We're on the What Would You Make collaboration with our beautiful friend Brenda, Christina, and the guest host. Happy Tuesday! You guys go check out their channel links in my description box along with that playlist link. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but here we go. You see this wood stuff I got out. I got 2 pumpkins from the Dollar Tree, 4 little wood pallets, and then a lid off a box that my friend Shelly gave me. Thank you, Shelly. And then I've got some beautiful material I got there from the Dollar Tree, but this is before prices went up. So yeah, you know, we're going to take my little heat gun there and my little, spatula popper thing there. And I popped off all the little pieces and of course popped off the little raggedy looking bows. What I'm doing now is I'm kind of marking off, these are the pieces for pumpkin number 1. And those are the pieces for pumpkin number 2. I put an X on the side that I want the fabric on. And now I'm marking on left side, right side. This probably isn't necessary, but for my brain, C for center. Yeah, and then arrow up because that's the top. You probably didn't need to do this, but for my brain, I felt this was needed. So, yeah. Anyway, so we're going to set them up on there. Moose is going to check it out, make sure we're good to go. We're going to take our Mod Podge here, and I'm going to put some Mod Podge on our pieces. I'm not going to stick them completely right straight together. I want a little bit of space between them, so when I go to cut them, sand them, all that good stuff, we're good to go. Yeet the cat. Okay, so taking my Mod Podge here. Sorry, I'm a little out of focus. I was trying to get a little bit closer so you could see my left and my right and my X's, 1s, and 2s. Not that it's necessary. Cover it with Mod Podge completely. I was kind of picky on where I wanted these pieces because I wanted to make sure certain pumpkins showed up, like the little blue ones and stuff, because, I like my blue with the fall. So just coating these with Mod Podge, just kind of sticking them as though they were on the pumpkin itself. And yeah, so there we go. I'm not going to put you through this whole thing, just showing you this one. Make sure you get your glue all the way to the edges, all that good stuff. I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. Now, let it dry a little bit. I'm just going to cut this chunk out right here. It worked out pretty good. I could just cut down between all those pumpkins and flowers right there. So, worked good. Yes, I did. All right. So, now once that gets all dry, I pretty much let that, first, okay, so here's the front. I'm just smoothing it out, making sure all the bumps and lumps are out. And now I'm going to take some more Mod Podge. And this is gloss Mod Podge, but with the fabric, it really doesn't matter. I'm just putting Mod Podge all over this thing, and I'm just trying to feel where the pieces are, and just putting more Mod Podge, but I just went ham all over, and yeah, dried it, but I really let it set overnight. So, but while those were drying, before I go overnight, so there's pumpkin number 1, pumpkin number 2. So kind of made a mess when I popped that stuff off and then sanded it down with my sander. That's what the black spot smears was, but we'll be okay. Putting a little bit of painter's tape on the back of those holes that were at the top, and then just using some DAP. This is actually DAP filler, not the Dollar Tree stuff, because I'm out of that now and I can't find it anymore. And we're just filling our holes here in a little bit. The tape on the back keeps it from kind of coming out the other side. I dried it. It kind of shriveled up too much, but you know what? Okay, I don't end up putting bows up there later on, you'll see, but you guys can do that. Anyway, I'm going squirrel here. Sorry. Woo-wee. All right, so we're going to use maize, and we're going to use that agave. You guys know I'm happy with these colors for the fall. Painted all those up, let those dry. Okay, this is day 2. All right, so the pumpkins are drying, and now we're going to cut. I cut the 2 pumpkin pieces apart, and now I'm just taking my little X-Acto knife razor blade here and just cutting pretty close to the edges right here. Right here, right here, right here, right here, and then. Anyway, just a lot of repetition. Okay. Anyway, been working with rhyming words and repetition and with my littles, so I think that's all my brain is powered to do right now. Okay, so I sped this up a little bit just so you could see. I'm cutting that out. I'm going to take my sander, and yes, when you put the Mod Podge on the fabric and it hardens, it does dry so hard that you can sand your fabric off. So I got it pretty close with the razor blade, so you don't have to do this, but I just wanted to do this to make sure I had some smooth edges. We all know that the wood pieces from Dollar Tree are pretty rough. So I'm going to speed through this real speedy and quick. We'll do all the little sides. We'll do the big part in the middle. I probably could have cut half this out because you know you don't want to watch that. How y'all doing? Okay, there we go. All right, so you can see there's our pieces. I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. And then there we go. I'm going to use my Tim Holtz little mini distressing ink here. I can't tell what that said. I usually use the vintage photo, but I think this was like a little bit of a darker color. I'm just taking my little dauber, finger dauber there, and I'm going around the edges so that it doesn't look so stark white of wood, making the edges darker. And then I'm also putting a little bit on top of the fabric around the edge. So I rub, I dab, I smear. And you can kind of tell the difference. I kind of do it here. I don't know if you could tell very good. But the one on the left is the one I've put the ink on. And then the one on the right, I have not inked yet. You can kind of tell better when it's further away. So I've done the pieces on the yellow, but not the blue. So you can kind of really tell the difference kind of now. I just thought it looked pretty cool. So we're gonna try to take this wood glue from the Dollar Tree, which is really good stuff, but you know, okay, just wait, y'all. Okay, so you see me beating that, trying to get that glue out, right? And then I'm gonna kind of just use a paintbrush to spread it all over. I did not want to use hot glue because I didn't want an instant hold right here. I wanted it to be able to wiggle it around, to be able to move my pieces around if I need to. Here I go, beat my glue again, guys. Hang in there, just wait, just watch. Yeah, okay, at some point, and remember, this is in fast motion. Chunk that bottle, I'm out. I've got more, but do I get up? No, let me just grab my tight bond. Now I'm gonna fight with that bottle. Anywho, I like to fight with myself. So anyway, so still not a permanent hold, but this stuff will hold once it's dry. So you don't have to move quick as if it were hot glue, but you can't take too awfully long either, because this stuff, both that wood glue from Dollar Tree and the Tite Bond, they set up pretty quick. But it's not like hot glue. I could still move these. Sorry for the head. I see how I'm kind of moving them, rearranging them a little bit. I'll just take my clamps once I get them where I like them, and then just kind of stick them on the ends there to make sure that they're held down. Now, of course, I couldn't put one up there on the top, but we're going to let those sit to the side. We'll let those babies dry. By the time my yellow one was finished and those set, I'm going to make my little box here we're going to put in the middle, and they'll be dry. So I've got 4 pallets, and then this was a lid off a box. I used the box for something. Don't remember what, but I've got my lid left. Moose is going to come over and give me a helping hand getting all my stickers off, so sorry for the close-up view, but I know y'all love the Moosey Moo anyway, so there he be. Yes, he is. Yeah, look at that Moose. Okay, so we're going to take our 4 pallets, and I'm kind of just showing you right here how I'm going to set it up. I didn't want, I don't even know how to explain this. See how I did it? Yeah, that's how I did it. Okay, so now we're going to take some of the Tite Bond, and I'm going to take some hot glue because I want the instant and the long-term hold. And not all that glue is going to go in there because we all know that the sides of those pallets are kind of open. So I was hoping some glue would catch. It's holding up really good so far. I'm waiting for, you know, one of these fuzzy butts around here to knock it off the shelf, and we'll see if it holds up. Anywho, you can kind of see how I don't even know how to say this, guys. Offset. Because, like, the first one I glued on the side, and this one I'm gluing by the side, on top of it, then on the side of it. You guys can see what I'm doing. I didn't glue them both. Y'all, I don't even know. What day is it? Friday? I'll be glad when we get to our 4-day weeks. Yes, our school, we have 4-day weeks. Makes for a long week because we got to be there from 7 o'clock in the morning till 4 if we're lucky and don't want to take anything home with us. And, yeah, but we don't start that until September. So, yeah, we've had 5-day weeks from 7 o'clock till 4, then coming home and killing ourselves with some more work at home. But hey, you know, this life of a teacher, gotta love it. Yeah, we do. But I'm telling you, we love those 4-day weeks. I don't know how we survived the 5-day weeks a long time ago. Phew. Anyway, y'all, sorry, squirrel. Anywho, so you can see after I got it glued together, I took a little bit of extra hot glue and just kind of went on the insides to make sure it had a little bit more of a hold, because all these palettes have all the open holes in them. So, you know. So I kind of just took my pencil, and this is the top of the lid. And I kind of took my pencil and kind of just drew the corners on there where you can see. So I knew where I needed to put the glue. And we'll use some more Titebond. I'll also use a little bit of hot glue. And we'll get this puppy stuck right there on top. Guys, I could have cut so much of this out and could have sped it up some more, I guess. Did I measure any of this? Absolutely not. Who measures anything? What's a measuring tape? I don't math, so, you know, I just do the reading, you know, so we just going for it. I'm going to take a wipey and wipe off all the glue that has managed to ooze out. Now, I don't care what the inside looks like. So there's some clumps of glue in there. But not worried about it. So here I'm kind of thinking, what do I want to do? So I was going to use my Antique Waverly wax, but then I thought, well, I want to glue my pumpkins to the box. I'm going to put a pumpkin on each end of the box, right? But if I use my Antique Waverly wax, the glue is less likely to stick. So I took my burnt umber from Apple Barrel that I showed you 30 minutes ago and watered it down a little bit to just kind of make a stain. You can make a stain with any color of acrylic paint, guys. If you want a blue stain, take your blue, add some water to it. If you want a pink stain, take your pink, add some water to it, you'll get a stain. So I figured by using the acrylic paint, the burnt umber by Apple Barrel, and adding some water to it, and I'm just putting it on with one of those chunky stenciling, stippling, whatever, distressing brushes from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going ham all over it, and I'm smearing it on, I'm rubbing it off, and all that kind of good stuff, and I'm spraying it with more water to get a little bit more off, because I want it to look like a stain, not like it's painted. So, and then, of course, I'm having to pick off the paper towel. I'm just using a dry paper towel right now because I sprayed it with the water, and now I'm wiping it with a dry paper towel. Here in a second, I'll brush it some more because I took too much off. And now, since I was so crazy with all that, see all that splatter everywhere? Yeah, it also splattered on my pumpkins. But you know what? It's okay. We're going to fix that. I'll show you how to fix that. Okay, so we're going to take our clips off, and we're going to splatter the tops of our pumpkins because I did it by accident, and now we're making it happen on purpose. I almost went into panic mode, and I thought, oh my gosh, I've just splattered this brown antique. Guys, it was a mess. All over the table, all over my shirt. Oh, my Lanta. And these were just sitting at the back of the table where you saw my hand just then. And so they weren't far away, and they got splattered, but we saved the day. We'll just splatter the whole thing. Y'all know I like to splatter and make a mess. Now, I realized, okay, these are going to show, so we got to paint the backs too. So while that little box dried, I painted the backs of our maize pumpkin and our agave pumpkin. And so see, here's where I'm going to glue it on. So if you use the antique wax, it might not hold as good. So that's why I used the burnt umber with some water to make a stain. It'll stick a lot better. And again, here I'm going to fight with this bottle of glue, and I'll use my Titebond. And I will also use hot glue to get both that permanent and temporary hold, hopefully. And I'm not gluing, the box was set kind of inside, and I still have that edge lip around because the lid was bigger. So I'm setting the pumpkins on top of that lid. Look, I'm on my muscle. Arrgh. Yeah, see? So it kind of sits on top right there. And then we'll put our maize pumpkin over here on the other side. And, it came out pretty good. And it's holding really good. Has not hit the floor yet, so I can't be an official judge of that. And I'm going to leave it right here, like kabam boom. But you'll see it decorated here in just a minute with some florals. The What Would You Make collaboration, Rustic and Lace DIY, and Miss Divine Designs. And your guest host this month is Happy Tuesday. Guys, again, go check out those beautiful ladies' channels in the description box and the playlist link to see all your wood inspiration. Okay, so now you just saw, see there, I put some floral foam in it and then put some flowers in it. You could add some bows to it if you wanted, but time is of the essence here. So had to be in a hurry. Anyway, I know, hot mess, right? The engine's pulling in. Okay, so I have this wood board frame thing that was from the Dollar Tree for $3. And then I have this calendar that my beautiful friend Shelly gave me. Thank you, Shelly. You know us and our candle loving stuff. Oh, I could have put this in the Calendar Girl collab too. Oh man, that's okay. I got more calendar pieces. Anyway, so we would normally probably use this flat backside, right? Nope, I'm going to use the inside so it looks like it's got a little frame around it. Okay, now I will use my antique wax. It's gotten to where it's kind of like down to the bottom, so I just added some water, made it a little bit more liquidy, because again, I kind of want to stain, so here I go making a mess. I just have a foam brush. I'm just doing the back right now, just to make sure the back looks nice and neat. I'm going to spread this on again, hit it with some water, because I'm just trying to make a stain. And I figured let's make it spread as far as we can instead of putting a whole bunch on and wiping it off and wasting it. Let's thin it out to start with, right? So I get the whole back done and the edges all the way around. Just taking a dry paper towel here. Now we're going to do just the top edges of the kind of frame part there. And then the inside of those edges. I'm not, like you see I'm doing right here. And I make sure I'm trying to get in the corners real good. And I do get on the flat part there, the back part, but no problem, no worries. These calendar pages, you know how we usually got to paint it with like a black so that the print and the boxes and numbers of the calendar don't show from the back of the page? These calendar pages were pretty thick, so I did not have to paint that back part. You could not see the squares or numbers through that. Anywho, here we go. I also took a wet wipe to get some more of it off. Now, I want this to set down inside because it's the exact size of the board itself, but I want that frame to show. So, am I going to measure anything? Heck no. Remember, this reading teacher don't do the math. So, I'm just going to take my little paper cutter here. And I'm just going to slice little bits off at a time. I want to make sure that I get the hole off the top since it is a calendar. So you could, attach it to the wall. So I'm going to make sure that comes off for sure. And look, I did that pretty good. Got the top and bottom down good. Now, the sides, I cut quite a bit of this out. Because, instead of measure, I'm just winging it here. So I kind of push it down with my fingers to kind of get an idea. But then I don't want to cut too much, because if you cut too much off, you can't add it back. So I'm just taking, see the little sliver over there? Just little slivers at a time, and I finally got it where it fit, and I started cutting it so skinny that it started tearing, and I thought, okay, we got to stop. For sake of time, because time is precious for this teacher here, I'm just going to take my handy dandy glue stick. Thanks, kids. And I'm just going to go all around these edges and then go ham with it all up in there like that, right? Okay. Yep, got it all over the table and everything. And we're going to stick it in there. And this holds good, guys. If you're just doing thin sheets like this, use a glue stick. That was just an Elmer's glue stick, the purple disappearing stuff. Yep, that's all it was. And so I'm just rubbing down with my hands. Now, I got these little scrapers off Temu, whatever you want to say. And it's got like a spongy end on the end of it, just a little piece, so it doesn't scratch. I was afraid I was going to scratch the calendar or rip it or tear it. So I grabbed my one with the foam on the end. And I'm making sure that all gets pushed down in the corners. Taking my little brayer roller here that I use for all my vinyl. This is all my vinyl stuff, but hey, that's okay. I got lots. And I'm loving the way this looks. I'm so happy. That picture, that teal turquoise truck and sunflowers, this is two of my favorite things, guys. Yeah, buddy. Now, I want to take some jute twine, and we're going to take this cute little scarecrow here that I got at Dollar Tree several years ago. I always used to put it in my florals, but I thought, no, we're going to do something else with this because he matches the truck. And then those are some more little sunflowers, little paper sunflowers. Here's little bitty tiny ones. This all came from Dollar Tree like 2 years ago or whatever. So we're going to spruce up our frame a little bit with the jute twine and our little scarecrow and sunflowers there. I'm going to set my hand in the house on fire, getting all the fuzzies off. You can see I'm like in a hurry here. I'm just holding this mess up and just setting it to fire. We're going to take the jute twine and I'm just going to go on the inside of the frame to kind of, you know how I said when I was kind of trying to slice the edges of the paper off that it was starting to get jagged because it was too skinny and I'm kind of starting to rip and tear it. This kind of just makes it cleaner. Just to put this skinny jute twine just on the inside edge. I'm going to go all the way around. When I get to the corner, I'll really shove it down in there. And look at there. So you can't really see it, but up close, you can't tell that the paper got torn and ripped and all that good stuff. Just a little bit of extra pizzazz that made me happy. And now I'm just making sure that all those little stringy glue strings are gone. Okay, Mr. Scarecrow time. We're going to make him all cutesy here. We're going to take these little flowers, little sunflowers. They're just paper, got a piece of wire on them. I didn't cut the wire completely off. I left a little bit and then pushed it down because I was afraid if I cut all the way down to the flower that the whole thing would fall apart. So I did leave a little piece of the wire on the back, bend it down, and we're just going to spruce little Mr. Scarecrow here up because, you know, Dollar Tree stuff, you know, you got to spruce it up. So I'll add one to the bow tie, to the hat, one on each leg. So you see it had the stick so you could make, it's like a pick, put it in your florals, which is what I always did. But don't watch, kids. We're going to snip this off. Ow. With my miter snippers thingies there, okay? And I've played with this thing for I don't know how long, getting the scraggly raffia. See all that raffia on my table there? Yep. Now, we're going to put him on this side, but I don't want to cover up too much of my sunflowers. I was just going to stick it to the side, but then when I moved her down, I thought, oh my gosh, this looks so cute, like she's sitting in the corner of the frame, right by her truck. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to hot glue down her back, and I'm going to kind of just stick her in the crook of the corner bottom part of the frame there. And then once I figure out where exactly she is, or he is, you know, whichever. I'm going to put a little bit of extra hot glue on it, just with her legs. I'll end up kicking a leg out a little bit. I thought it'd kind of be funny if you took one of her legs and kicked it straight across the bottom frame there, but that looked too funny. So I just kind of kicked them sideways, as you can see there. Pulling off all the glue strings, picking at the fuzzies. There we go. And I thought, you know, it needs something more. Let's give it some dimension. While you're watching this, guys, 930 subscribers, 70 more to go, and I'm at 1,000. Call your friends, call your cats, call your peoples, call your co-workers, call your dogs. Tell them to subscribe. 70 more, guys. Remember, we get to 1,000, we having a giveaway. I know it's going to happen. Come on, guys. Get on the Hot Mess Express. Let's ride this train. Okay, anyway. So I'm giving this just some dimension. And I'm just gluing those sunflowers where the sunflowers are on the back of the truck. I've got a couple of the little ones left. So we're going to kind of just glue those all around there like so. And I think this was back in the day when these were like actually $1 for that pack, not $1.25, and not $1.50 or $1.75 and whatever it costs now. Anyways, I'm going to take this boxwood pick and I'm going to, I pulled one off, but it's still too big. So yeah, Moose is, oh look, plants, floral. I get to play now. Yeah, get out of here, Moose. Poor Moosey. And I just cut pieces of it off to kind of stick it in there. I'm not sure if I like this. I know it needed some green, but I end up putting too much on. And I don't know if I left it in here or not, but I do take some off. And then, yeah, have a moose tail. And then, like, up in there inside, and it was looking kind of cute. But then I'm, like, covering up, look, the company, the CO, seed company, I'm covering up the O, so you don't see that. And I'm like, man, this is getting too carried away. I did put a little piece behind the sunflower on his hat, just to kind of make it all mingle together, right? Yep, see, just like that. I don't know if this boxwood looks good with these sunflowers. It's too much. It's not the right greenery. Guys, tell me down in comments. Was this, look, see, I'm pulling them out now because I'm like, I just don't know about this. I wanted some green, but is the boxwood the right type of green? Or should I just not have used green at all? Let me know down in comments, guys. I don't know. I'm loving this piece just because of the teal, turquoise, my blue color. Oh, I love it. Favorite color. So, and sunflowers, heck to the yeah, baby. This just screams fall. This is my fall right here. This color blue and the sunflowers. All with a calendar page. Woohoo! Now, here's another thing, guys. What do I do for a hanger? Do I just, put a little, sawtooth hanger on the back? Do I put some D-hooks? Do I put a jute twine rope on the back? What do I do? I could not figure out what I wanted to do. So I've just left it alone. It's just sitting up here on the stand for right now. But here we go, guys. Only 2 projects. That's as good as I could get. And it still ended up almost 30 minutes long. But these 2 projects took me probably over a week to put together between doing this and school. But hey, So here's all our pretty florals. All those florals came from Dollar Tree. There is our little crate with our pumpkins. I put florals in here. I just put some floral foam in there and then stuck the flowers in. This could hold napkins. It could hold, if you're Thanksgiving, your spoons, forks, knives, napkins. This could hold so much. But I just stuck some florals in there. And it looks pretty cute. I kind of like it. But this, guys, I think this is my favorite thing I have made so far out of my, only 3 videos I've made of fall so far. But, hey, better than nothing, right? We're going for next weekend, but I'm not making any promises. Because it is a 3-day weekend. It's Memorial Day. So, hey, you never know. I might be here next weekend to give y'all some pizzazz. But there we go. There's a couple other little things there on my last video that I did with Joanna in our Thrifted Thursdays. I hope you guys have liked. Go down to that description box and click on Brenda and Christine and Miss Happy Tuesday's channel links. Those ladies are absolutely amazing and so talented. Description box for the playlist as well. I love you guys.